You ever notice how your voice completely changes when you switch from talking to your boss to, say, texting your best friend? Yeah? Well, that ability to shift how we communicate isn't just some random accident. It's actually a crucial skill. Whether you're in a high-stakes boardroom or just grabbing coffee, getting this linguistic shift right is the key to being understood. So how do we get really good at it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to dive into the art of shifting, then get into why it matters so much. We'll map out the whole formality spectrum, and then do a little experiment, translating one idea 3 different ways. After that, we'll learn how to avoid the dreaded tone trap, all to prove one final super important point. Flexibility really is fluency. So, first up, let's unpack this skill that, honestly, we all kind of have. You see, we're constantly tweaking our language, often without even realizing it. We're following these unspoken rules that guide pretty much every conversation we have. I mean, seriously, do you? Of course not, right? You would never say, yo, that Q3 report is absolute fire to your CEO. And you probably wouldn't text your friend, Dear Catherine, I hope this message finds you well, to make dinner plans. It's just not what we do. This instinct to switch it up is totally universal. Now, this whole thing actually has a name. In the world of sociolinguistics, it's called register. And it's not about using right or wrong words. Nope. It's about using the appropriate language for the moment. Think of it as the secret tool we all use to navigate our social world without causing a total train wreck. Okay, so we all do it, but why is it so important to get it right? Because let me tell you, getting your tone and register wrong can have some seriously high stakes, especially when you're on the clock. And when I say high stakes, I mean it. Check this out. One report found that mismanaged conversations can lead to a 33% loss in customers. That is a massive hit to the bottom line, and it all comes down to not matching the tone. And it's not just about money. That same kind of miscommunication is linked to a 30% spike in missed deadlines. And maybe even worse, it can get you labeled as rude or just plain offensive, creating these awkward, problematic interactions that nobody wants to be a part of. So to really get a grip on this, let's map it out. Think of communication like a spectrum that we're all sliding up and down on every single day. On one end, you've got the super formal, and on the other, it's totally casual. Let's look at the two ends. First, we have the formal register. This uses precise professional language fit for very serious contexts, like when you're talking to recruiters or senior executives. You'd use greetings like, Dear Miss Gaston, and close with something like, respectfully. Then, on the complete opposite side, you've got the casual register. Here, you can toss in idioms, maybe a little slang. It's for people you know well. A simple, hey, is all you need to start, and you might not even sign off at all. Okay. This is where it gets really interesting. Let's put this whole theory into practice. To see the real power of register, we can take just one idea and see how it completely transforms when we translate it for different people. Let's take a simple idea, starting something. In a very formal setting, you might say, we must commence the implementation. For a more neutral, everyday work thing, let's start the project sounds about right. And with your close team, let's get this moving totally works. You can literally feel the difference, right? The energy, the distance between people. It all changes with just a few words. You know that first super formal phrase, commence the implementation? Well, there's a fantastic name for that kind of language. The writer Helen Sward calls them zombie nouns. Things like implementation, commencement, utilization. They're these big, clunky nouns that literally suck the life and action right out of a sentence. And it's not just a clever name. The experts warn that when you overuse these zombie nouns, your writing gets really abstract, and it becomes hard to tell who is actually doing what. So instead of a passive, vague phrase like, a decision was made, a much stronger sentence is just, we decided. It's clear, it's direct, and it brings your communication right back to life. So we know these different registers exist, but the real trick, the million-dollar question, is knowing which one to use and when. How do you avoid that cringy, awkward moment of a total communication mismatch? Honestly, the best way to think about it is this. You just don't want to be the person who shows up to a casual beach party in a full-on tuxedo, right? Being way too formal in a relaxed setting is just as weird and uncomfortable as being too casual when things need to be serious. It is all about reading the room.
And hey, fun fact, there is even an academic term for this kind of mismatch. It's called non-accommodation. And it's basically just a fancy way of saying your communication style is totally out of sync with your audience. It's the root cause of all those problematic interactions we were talking about earlier.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Does this mean I have to be fake or inauthentic? And the answer is absolutely not. Mastering this is about being agile, effective, and just a fluent communicator who can really connect with anyone.
Some famous linguists, Halliday and Hassan, put it perfectly. Basically, what they're saying is that for communication to even make sense, to be coherent, it has to match the situation it's in. When your register clicks with the context, your message just lands. It's clear, effective, and successful.
And that's, right there, is the ultimate goal. To become a social chameleon. Someone who doesn't just know a lot of fancy words, but knows exactly which words to use to build a bridge, to get things done, and to make a real, genuine connection no matter where you are. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question. Think about the very next email you have to write, or the next meeting you're going to lead, or even just the next text you're about to send. How can you use this idea of register to make that one conversation just a little bit more powerful?